Hi everyone, my name is Liam and I'm with the East Baton Rouge Parish Career Center. And today I'm going to show you how to apply for a job at Walmart on your phone. Now, for the purposes of this video, I have a little mouse to show you where I'm hovering over, but obviously you will be using your phone, your finger to tap and type. And the first thing we're going to tap and type is just Walmart jobs. And then we'll hit search. Now, this first one is generally the one you're going to look for, Walmart careers. So we're going to click that, and we're going to search for it says job title or keyword, but here you can actually search the location for places that you would want to work. So for instance, if we search Baton Rouge, it'll come up, and we could just tap that. And it'll show us all of the different Walmart positions that are open for all Walmart affiliated companies, including Sam's Club. If you don't want to work at Sam's Club, then we can click Show Filters and only check off Walmart, and then click Apply Filters. So these are the current open positions at Walmart, and they're listed based on whenever they were open, what city they're located in, but they don't give a lot more information than that. So first we're going to have to tap one to see more about it. We're going to choose General Merchandise and see more about the general listing. This is in Baton Rouge. It's offered as both full and part-time, and then we get a general idea of what general merchandisers would do, which sounds like working as a cashier or working as someone that walks the floors in different departments. So we're gonna go ahead and try and apply to these, and it'll bring us to a new website with a disclaimer. All of this disclaimer says is that Walmart offers equal employment to people with disabilities or who would otherwise be burdened by the job search process. All you have to do is click that you agree with the terms and conditions and then tap continue. Now, if you've never applied for a Walmart job, you do not have an account. If you do have an account, if you tried this before, you can log in with the email that you used and just resume your application from there. But if you never have, like I have, then you can click search for jobs. So we're going to tap search for jobs, and it'll ask us to look for a location. We're going to go ahead and put a Baton Rouge zip code, 70813, and then hit search to see what comes up. Now it'll show all of the nearest Walmart stores to the zip code you put in. You should put in the zip code of the place you live or the easiest place for you to get to. So this is a map view of the places. This is the closest that we have, and then there's one up in Zachary, things like that. We're just going to check off all of the Baton Rouge stores within 10 miles of this zip code, just to keep our options open. You don't have to do that. If you only want to travel 5-ish miles, you would only click this one, for instance. Now, you do have to click the little box. If you click anywhere else, it's not going to register that. So you do have to pick this box in order to select it. And then we can select continue. Here you're given two different options. First of all, you can sort and filter based on, for instance, how much you would want to be paid, what skill level you have, how much you would interact with customers, and for which shifts you would be willing to work. But if you don't really care that much about that, this is all of their current openings that are open at all of the stores that we had selected, and they offer future openings. So these are hypothetical jobs that are not open right now, but If they do open up within the next 30 days and you create an application for them now, Walmart will automatically submit your application to those positions to be selected for them. So for the purposes of the video, I'm going to select a few different positions here and a few different positions here, like sales floor associate, adult beverage team associate, and merchandise reconciliation. Now, you can select as many or as little jobs as you feel qualified for or that you feel you would be capable of doing. I just selected enough that would give us a wide variety in the application. So now we're going to hit continue, and it'll ask what kind of employment you're looking for. It says up at the top that employment type has been selected based on your selected jobs, meaning the ones that I clicked, some of them are part-time and some of them are full-time. You can, of course, take off full-time. You could, if it only selects part-time, you can add full-time. You can add that you're only temporary. That's up to you. That's your preference. Now we're going to hit continue, and it's going to ask which shifts you would prefer to work no matter what position you're offered. They're typically 8 to 9 hours and include breaks and lunch. So it auto-selected the morning shift from 4 a.m. to 7, the morning shift from 7 to 9, the mid shift from 8 to 11, and the closing shift from 1 to 5:30. It did not select overnight, 5:30 to 11. If you think you can work from 5:30 to 11, then you can select overnight. If for some reason you can't work in the middle of the day, like you have another job or you have to take care of your kids, we can take out mid-shift and we can take out something like closing. So then we're going to click continue. If you do take off these very key shifts, it will tell you that taking off those shifts might limit your job opportunities. If you really can't work those times, or if you even just don't want to work those times, you'll click yes. Otherwise, you'll click no, click the ones that you can work for, and go from there. We're going to click yes. Now, it's asking a very similar question here, specific hours on those shifts that you can work. You can either say that you're open to working any hours, any time of the day, any day of the week, and those from before were just preferences, or that you're only available to work certain hours, in which case you are given the option to specify exactly which hours you are able to work. So for instance, if you select that you're able to work weekends, you can say that you're ready to go Saturday at 7 a.m. and you could go all the way to 9 p.m. But say for instance, Sunday, you can't make it in the mornings. Sunday, you're only able to start at about 2 p.m. and you really want to be home for dinner, so you're only going to be able to work from 2 to 4. You can make those specifications for any day of the week. For now, though, I'm just going to say that we're open to working any hours. And at any point in this application process, you can click Save for Later. It'll save your progress, and you can come back to it at any time. Now, we're going to create the account. So this is the part where you would put in your email, you'd create a password, and hopefully write it down somewhere, and then a number that they can contact you by. So for this video, we're going to make up a fake person, Jane Q Public, and use her email to apply to these positions. And we're going to put the same email in for the confirm email section. Now for your password, there are a few requirements that Walmart asks of you. It has to be 8 to 11 characters long and contain at least one numeric, a number, one uppercase letter, and one lowercase letter. I would recommend writing this down somewhere, but also picking something that you would find really easy to remember, because these aren't very difficult qualifications to meet. So I'm going to put in a password now, and we're going to cut so that you don't see it, but I'll come back whenever we get to the next part. All right. And for the confirm password, you're just going to put the same exact thing you put in the password section. So then it asks what your preferred language of communication is. If you feel more comfortable speaking English, then you would select English. But if you're more at home speaking Spanish on a day-to-day basis, then you could click Spanish. It's just whichever one you are most preferable to. So Jane Q. Public primarily speaks English, so we're just going to go with that. Then for your mobile number, you're going to put a number that someone could easily call or text you at if they, for instance, wanted to offer you a job. So we're going to put a fake number here. And then it gives you the option to put in an alternate contact number. This is in case this number is not very easy to reach you at. But say you have another phone at home or a friend that could pass a message on to you, you could use an alternate number to give them instead. But it's not required. All of these at the top had little asterisks next to them. Those indicate required fields, things you have to put in to be able to continue. But we don't need to put in an alternate contact number, so we're not going to do that. Last thing on this step, there's an option to opt into text messages. That is if you're okay with getting messages from Walmart on your phone via text. If you'd rather they just call you, don't select that. But if you're okay with getting texts, or even if you prefer getting texts instead of calls, you can check this off right here. So now we're going to hit create account. It'll load for a second, and then it'll bring us to this task menu. We've already selected the locations that we'd want to work for and the jobs that we'd like to do. We can check those out by pressing these little arrows. And we've already selected our hours of availability, which again, we can change at any time. But now we have to get onto the actual application. And we're going to start with the About You section. So again, asterisks next to a name mean you have to put something in that field. So for instance, for Jane Q. Public, we have to put that her first name is Jane and her last name is Public. But we do not have to put that her middle initial is Q. That's not required. Preferred first name, that's if you have a nickname or if you go by a different name than what your legal first name is and you'd like people to call you that. Same thing with your last name. For instance, if you are technically still under a married name but you'd prefer to go by your maiden name, that's completely up to you. The zip code of the place you currently live, we're going to put the same zip code we used to search. You should put your zip code so that they know where you are in relation to your work. And then your birth month and birthday. We're going to say that Jane Q. Public was born on August 13th. Now here, it asks for the last 6 digits of your social security number. I'm going to use a fake social security number. But you should use your actual social security number, because if the provided information is not true, then they cannot offer you the job. And you will not be able to change this later. So you have to make sure that it is the actual last 6 digits of your social security number, because they will ask for your entire social security number if you get a job. So for our fake social security number, we're just going to put in a series of numbers and move on. And then we have to check this box off to say that we understand that all of this has to be right and that we can't change our social security later. And then we're going to click next. Just like I said, if you move forward and they select you, they will ask for your full social security number, so it does have to be accurate here. Now, they'll ask your student status, if you're a student or not. Pick the one that's accurate to you. J&Q Public is no longer a student, so we'll select no. And then how old you are. J&Q Public has long since passed 18 years old, so we'll just put 18 years of age or older and click next. Now, will you now or in the future require sponsorship for an immigration-related employment benefit? This only applies to you if you are not a citizen of the United States. J&Q Public was born in the United States, making her a citizen automatically, so we can pick no. If you have a green card or a visa, you might have to pick yes. If you were born in the United States or have otherwise gotten citizenship, you do not need sponsorship. If you're hired, can you submit documentation verifying your identity and legal right to work? That could be your social security card, your driver's license, anything that proves your citizenship as a United States citizen and your age to prove that you are not a minor. Most people can select yes. Now Walmart is asking for our military service. If you're curious, you can click here to see why Walmart asks about this. It's usually just for the purposes of intake knowledge. Do you have any active duty experience in the uniformed services? Jane has not, so we can click no. Important to note, you don't have to answer these questions, but if you don't want to answer them, you have to click I don't wish to answer, and that's completely fine. Are you the spouse of someone in the uniformed services? No, J&Q Public is not married to someone in the United States Army, Navy, etc., etc. These questions are also optional. They're going to ask you personal questions about who you are and how you identify. J&Q Public is female, and she is white. Make sure you read through all of these to make sure that they apply correctly to you and your history. Again, you do not have to answer these. Walmart wants to know how much experience you have in the various things that you would be asked to do in these positions. Note that you don't have to have any, but they will recognize as much as 5 or more years of experience. So we'll say that Jane has about a year experience in sales and maybe 1 to 3 years in grocery, but has never worked in a warehouse and has never done manufacturing. And that's fine. We have to put in our employment history here. They want employment history for all positions held during the past 6 years. If you're applying for a driver position within a distribution center, 10 years of employment are required. They have to be complete and accurate, just like everything else. So we aren't applying for a driving position, so we're just going to list the place that she's been working for the past 6 years, XYZ Retail. And there she was the manager. Say it was general retail, and she did customer service. And customer relations specifically as a manager. So start date, she started this job upwards of 6 years ago. So we're going to go ahead and put her at 09/2019. And she unfortunately left our XYZ Retail on June of this year. They give you an option to say why you left this position. You do not have to answer this. There is no asterisks at all. If for any reason you were fired, you were laid off, you had a disagreement with someone, you should honestly almost never answer this question unless it is important for someone to know why you left a position. We're going to click Add. Now, because this job covers 6 years of employment, we don't have to add any more. But if you only had a job that you did a year, and then 2 years before that, and then 3 years before that, you would have to keep clicking Add to keep adding more job titles, company names, and dates that you started and ended. Here, you can add certificates and licenses you may have gotten, where you got them from, what they were, when you got them, and optionally, when they expire, if they are relevant to the positions you are applying for, like optometry. Again, you have to agree that everything is correct and accurate to the best of your knowledge, because they will check. So we're going to click Continue. All right, final part, they're going to ask about tax credit questionnaires. It'll take less than 3 minutes to complete, and you do not have to answer any of them. Again, your answers are kept strictly confidential, and they will not directly affect your employment opportunity at Walmart. And once you start, you cannot change the language that it's in. So if you do prefer reading in Spanish, you should switch the language to Spanish now using this button up here. So we're going to go ahead and get started. In the last year, have you or anyone you've lived with received SNAP benefits or food stamps? Answer these honestly, yes or no. In the last 2 years, have you or anyone you lived with received TANF benefits, which are similar? Are you a veteran? If you answered no before, you'll answer no now. Are you a person who has a disability? If you answer no here, then that's it. Most of these, if you answer yes, they will ask you follow-up questions. Are you unemployed, and have you collected unemployment benefits at any time during your unemployment period? Since Jane Q. Public has only been unemployed for a few months, she has not collected any benefits on that. So we can click no. If you are unemployed for a long time and still never filed for unemployment, you can also click no. But if you ever received unemployment benefits up until applying for these jobs, you do have to click yes. Are you or your spouse an enrolled member of a Native American tribe? Jane Q. Public is not. If you are, then you would click yes. And then it thanks you for taking the time to complete the IRS survey and asks you to confirm that this is your first and last name. It'll autofill from your profile, so you shouldn't have to change this at all. So we'll click Submit. Now, it's saying that for the positions that I selected, there are minimum qualifications that we have to complete. Depending on the positions that you select, it may be that you don't see this screen at all. But because I selected pharmacy technician, I do have to certify a few things. First of all, Jane Q. Public has to be 18 years old or older, have a diploma, and agree to meet the state requirements if selected for the position. She does have those things, and she would be willing to meet those requirements, so she can click yes. You have to hold an active certification issued by PTCB or NHA. If you have one of those and are applying for this position, you click yes. Otherwise, you would click no. And then finally, if you click no, then you have to agree to get a certification by those organizations within 1 year of starting the job. You don't have to have them yet, but you do have to have them very soon. So we'll click yes there. And then asking if specifically the applicant has 6 months at Walmart or Sam's Club pharmacy. If, like Jane, if you've never worked at Walmart, you'll click no here. Now the application part of the application is done. But depending on the openings that I picked, I'll have to take certain assessments. I cannot show you how these assessments are done because these assessments have to be taken based on your own opinions and experience. You'll have to go through and take these assessments on your own. But I'm going to come back after I finish the assessment to show you what the final screen looks like. Alright, so I've completed the Retail Associate Assessment on behalf of Jane Q Public, the fake persona we made, and now it's asking us to complete a little survey based on our experience applying for Walmart. So we'll click Next to start with that. Again, this is not something I can help you with. This is just your opinions on the assessment you just took, so I'll be right back after we answer these questions. Alright, so through them, if you failed an assessment, you did not answer the technical questions correctly, or you were just not a good fit for that position, the website will let you know automatically, and you will not be able to do that assessment for that job until a month has passed. That's fine, you just won't be considered for the positions that required those assessments. Finally, you have to click the Submit button to submit both your assessments and your general application. So we're going to hit Submit, and we'll get a notification that it was submitted. They'll give us some things to expect. The application will be reviewed by a hiring manager at all the places you applied to. If you get selected for something, you'll either receive an email at the email you put in, or a text at the number that you put in to schedule an interview. After the interview, if you're offered a job, a hiring manager will send over an offer for you to review, and at any time you can go and log in to this website and see what your status is. So we just applied, so it's still under the applied. Eventually it'll come under consideration, and if it goes farther than that, we'll schedule an interview and then maybe even receive a job offer. And again, it'll show you all the places that you applied to, and it'll give you the option to look for more positions. Say you did not do well on one of your assessments and you'd like to still make sure you have a lot of positions that you've applied to, you can try again with a different kind of application. But that's it for this video. If this was helpful to you, make sure to like this video and subscribe if you want to see more videos like it. Stay tuned for more videos like this.